over the past month, a lot of events have happened, and just to give a brief recap of what has happened and how we've celebrated this month, I'd like to invite Ron Nicholson.
Well, I think I forgot my notes tonight, but we'll do the best we can anyway, okay? Welcome everyone, and the food was excellent, by the way. I did get to taste it, so just to tell you a little bit about the month, I think it was very successful. We started off on January 31st with kind of a meet and greet at the Victoria Public Library downtown on Broughton Street. And we were joined, our society was joined by the African and Caribbean Cultural Society and the African Heritage Association of Vancouver Island. And we had displays and people would come by and ask questions, and we were able to answer them and tell them a bit about the upcoming events for the month. So that was kind of a nice way to start things off. And then as far as our society is concerned, our first event was actually on the 15th. I did give a presentation myself at one of the branches of the library at the Saanich Central Library. I gave a presentation on the Underground Railroad, which is kind of my heritage, and then that was on the 7th of February, so I guess that was the first actual event that we had. Next we had an event right here in this very room on the 15th of February. And as our featured speaker, we had John Lutz, from the Associate Professor of History from the University of Victoria. And he spoke about a gentleman who was a famous artist back in the 1880s here in Victoria. He was of black ancestry, and his name was Grafton Tyler Brown. It was a very interesting and informative presentation. And it was very well turned. The attendance was very, very good, and it was a very successful event. Our next event was the following weekend. We had actually 3 of our events on the same weekend. On the Saturday, we had, that was the event that Karen spoke at, I believe, on the Saturday afternoon. Another one of our members, Karen Hoschel, she's here tonight. And she spoke about the BC Black history and her own personal Alexander family, which is one of the pioneer families of this of the Victoria area. And on the Sunday, I believe she also gave a presentation at the Shady Creek Church, as well as conducting the entire service. The Shady Creek Church is out in East Saanich Road. In case any of you are not familiar with it, it was one built by the early black pioneers, the Charles and Nancy Alexander and others. And Karen is still a current member of that church, and if you ever get a chance, you might want to take in a service. It's on East Saanich Road, out in the Saanichton area. After that, we jointly with the Cemetery Society on the Sunday afternoon, we had an event at the Ross Bay Cemetery, and that's an annual event conducted by John Adams, who is quite well known in the Victoria area. He does a number of tours, and one of our own members, Valen Marshall, and they do visit a number of the black pioneers that are buried in the Ross Bay Cemetery, including James Douglas and the monument that exists for him in the cemetery as well. That was very well turned out as far as attendance is concerned. And then we went to one of our main events, which was Monday evening at the Belfry Theatre. That event is co-sponsored by the Public Library and the Belfry Theatre and our society, the BC Black History Awareness Society. And it featured one of our locals, Justin Carter, who does a kind of a one-man play monologue, and he did one this year. He previously had done one called The Son of Africville, but this year he put a brand new presentation together for us, and it was very interesting. I think it was entitled, "My Father to Whom I Am Not Related." And that was a very, very interesting and enjoyable presentation. And the second part of the evening was by the Chance Lovett Quartet. And they played, and Chance is a vocalist who did a very good job in singing blues, jazz, and gospel music. It was a very, very entertaining night. And that brings us up to this event this afternoon, which we're happy to participate in as much as possible with Pulsherry, and we appreciate the efforts that her society has put together to bring this on and put this on. So that pretty much wraps it up. We think it was a very good evening and a very good night for BC Black History